Good evening, class. It is Thursday, October 21st, and I wanted to leave you a video message updating you on a couple things in class and a little bit about feedback on draft outlines for the challenging communication speech, which is due tonight. First of all, we are just past midterms, and I'm getting a little bit concerned because I noticed that some of you are missing assignments or not keeping up on work as you were. That is not unusual, happening around week 7, 8, and 9. And since we're in week 9, just past midterms, I wanted to give you a little nudge to not drop off at this point because your communication challenge speeches are due in about a week. And you don't want to get behind at this point. You've made it this far and you can keep going. You can make it to the end. I know midterms are challenging. I know some of you have spoken to me about some personal challenges that are happening. But if you're struggling at all, please reach out. Let's make an appointment and let's figure things out. Second reason you want to make sure you're getting those assignments in on Thursdays is because often your support team members are contacting me if your stuff isn't there because they can't respond. Remember, in groups, there is interdependence. That means that you have a recognition that what you do affects others. And when we're doing peer editing on outlines and having assignments where you have to get feedback, it is important for you to put those assignments in. I'm a tad bit behind on listening to your vlogs. My personal schedule got a little bit in the way. You should be getting feedback on those in the next couple days, and I'll try to alert you to that somehow via email or an announcement similar to this. So I noticed I've graded all the outlines that were turned in this evening before 8 o'clock, and I noticed a few things. So first of all, if you didn't submit an outline, my perception is that you're not keeping up on work. It's possible you missed a deadline, but I just want to make sure that you know that that's the impression I have as an instructor, especially when I don't hear from anybody. Second thing is, in your outlines, I noticed that in many cases, there weren't direct connections to your personal communication challenge. Remember that a part of this speech is for you to share what your challenge is, why you chose it, what you were hoping to achieve, and what you've learned through the experience. The research material is there to link and connect with your experience. So if I'm just seeing information there, or I'm not seeing a very well developed outline, it's giving me the impression that either you haven't put a lot of thought into this at this moment, or maybe you haven't done your research. So make sure that you're taking time to be thoughtful about how to make those connections. If you need help with that, you can always reach out to me. Many students will take the information that they found during their research and they'll share some information, and then they'll connect it in with their experience. They'll say, here's what I've learned. Boy, if I had known this information, my challenge might have been better. If I did know some of this before I did my challenge or while I was doing it and I adjusted my challenge, any of those conclusions are fine to draw. Then they'll move on to the next point. So that's one approach that you can use. Some students talk about their challenge at the beginning. They interweave their research in the middle and then talk about their challenge again at the end. One key thing you want to do is this is not a persuasive speech. So your speech should not be telling us, and here's what you should be doing to improve your life or anything like that. It is about your experience, and the information is designed to enhance our understanding, not persuade us. We don't get to persuasion until the very last speech. So one of the ways I noticed that you can change the speech is by using I language. Talk about your experience. Don't use you. You ought to be doing this, or you should do these things, or you can make this happen. When you start using that language, you're attempting to influence the audience, and that's when you get into persuasion. Two other things I want to mention. One is that when I see large blocks of information taken out of sources, that's a problem because, as the video about source citations indicates, you really want to paraphrase. Very rarely do you need to have direct quotations. Much better to paraphrase. That says to me you really understood the information that you were reading. You're not just getting up to go fact. because that's not what we want. What's relevant about the information? And I just want to mention, Ian did a really nice job in his draft outline of talking about his experience and sort of some aha moments as he was looking at the research that he was doing, right? So nice job, Ian. I just want to give you a little shout out on that. So his is a pretty good example to look at. Not a whole lot of details in there, but he's got the right concepts in there, and I can see where he's making connections. Second thing is when you don't have sources in your outline at this point, now I'm really concerned because I have the impression that you either haven't done your research or you maybe haven't read all of your research yet. Remember that you have to incorporate 4 unique sources. That means 4 sources that share information that are relevant to your challenge. I had one student say, I'm kind of finding the same thing in every source. Okay, well, pick a piece of information from one source to share in one point, use a second source for another point, even if the information corroborates. That means that it's being backed up in multiple sources. Figure out where you can utilize those at different points in your speech. And remember who, what, when. When you do those oral source citations, you got to have the author, the title of the source, not the title of the article or the publication. I'm sorry, the publication would be the thing to cite, not the EBSCO host, not the database, right? And then the date of publication or the date you access that information. Again, if you're struggling with that, I had a couple of WRSA coaches come to teach live to some classes that I'm meeting more regularly. So if you're interested in seeing that video, you can always let me know. Maybe that one will make it a little bit clearer than the one that's posted. Okay. So again, keep up the good work. Don't lose momentum at this point and keep making progress because your next speech is coming up. This is one of those IAI speeches you need for credit for the course. And I want to support you in being successful. So if you're struggling with anything, please reach out. Look forward to seeing you soon.